And with that being said, because you talked about conflict management, and how do you deal with somebody who don't want to deal with conflict? You know, I mean, whether it's in a marriage, whether it's in a friendship, and they just don't want to deal with conflict. They just like to just, put it underneath the carpet or don't want to talk about it. And how do you deal with that, especially when, confrontation is one of the areas in the relationship you have to confront, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, you have to confront the problem in order to overcome a problem. And when you find yourself with, people who just don't want to, want to make a decision to talk about the problem, whatever the case. And, I guess I get amazed that people say, well, I don't want to talk about it at this time.
Right.
And then you wait. You've already wasted 15 years keeping it embedded in your heart. Or you don't have, as you said about like childhood things, things that have carried on into their adult life. And, so how do you deal with somebody who don't want to deal with conflict management, who don't want to confront issues and different things?
See, the thing is, by nature, we would all like for everything to be wonderful all the time, but unfortunately it's not. But generally, when you have people like that who just refuse to, I don't want to deal with this, it's fear. See, confrontation is not a bad thing. Because when you confront something, you correct something. Without correction, you stay wrong. See, we have this wrong perception about it, that confrontation is a bad thing. And it's not. It's a good thing, because it's correction. If this is not right, okay, you did this wrong, we need to straighten this out. We need to correct this. Because if we don't correct it, we're going to stay wrong. But people generally don't want to do that because of the fear. You got to ask yourself, why am I afraid? Or why am I afraid to correct this situation? And generally in men-women relationship, they don't like confrontation because they have a fear of loss. That if I confront this situation, this person is going to walk away or leave. Or sometimes I know people who don't want to confront certain things because if they do, now they got to deal with it. Sometimes it seems easier to be in denial of something. Like what you don't know don't hurt. That's not true. Because there is really no real denial. You're just putting it off. It's like you're putting it on the shelf, and it's going to always come back. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but it's going to come back. So the little expression, sweeping it under the rug, that's just what you're doing. You're sweeping it under the rug. It's still there. And guess what? The rug is going to get moved sooner or later. So you're going to have to deal with it. Only time you will never have to deal with a confrontation if you're dead. But as long as you're alive, you're gonna have to deal with the issues. So why deny stuff? Let's settle it right now. See, instead of viewing it as a bad thing, but you do have people who don't want to confront because there's that fear. And you got to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What am I? I'm afraid to tell my wife I don't like her potato salad. No, I'm just using an example. I don't like potato salad, period. But she keep making it, I keep acting like I like it. I don't want to argue. Why are we going to argue when correction should help strengthen the relationship? But see, we have a perception, the wrong perception about it. That confrontation and conflict is a bad thing. And that's why I don't even want to deal. I don't want to talk about it. I don't forget it. I don't even want to get in no argument. What are you afraid of? And that's what you have to ask yourself. What are you afraid of? And you can, and the thing about it, don't even be afraid to disagree, because there are certain things we can agree to disagree. As much as Pastor Laura and I got in common, there are still a few things we agree to just disagree on. ain't making no big deal about it. Because it's our perception of something. And sometimes you disagree about things based on your perception at the time, your amount of knowledge at the time. Then you can your knowledge can change on something, then your perception about it change. Like, you know what, baby, you was right about that. Because my perception changed. But if we never talked about it, then that correction would have never been able to take place. So it all boils down to, why are you afraid? What are you afraid of? They might, what are you afraid of? Now, if you are afraid somebody going to leave you over potato salad, we didn't have much from the beginning. If potato salad is going to ruin this relationship, mayonnaise, potatoes, and what else you make, what else potato salad out of? Is if that's going to ruin this wasn't much from the get-go.